You're busy.
6:59.
6:57.
All right, are we good?
I don't know, you were putting stuff in.
I'm good. Just go ahead and go on production and we'll go from there. All right. Yeah, let me know when you're ready to go and we'll get going. Are we going to just key in on the, I don't know, we probably don't have tag music ready, right?
Yeah.
No, but I can control Q and then
Are you ready to go?
streaming and recording.
We're streaming and recording right now?
All right, go.
Check, check.
Everybody's phone.
No. You're on camera. You can be.
Actually, you should come on camera. You know what? You should be a guest one night. You should be a guest one night. I keep waiting for a guest. Are we on? Are we live?
Are we live?
We are live.
Oh, did we? Do we actually? Welcome to Udicci.TV. We're on kind of a have fun, go at it, ad hoc kind of moment. Tonight we're going to be talking about influence, and we're asking you, thank you for joining in, and again, just kind of enjoy the ride here. We were able to kick off a few new shows today, or start planning those shows. A lot of great things going on, and anyways, right now we're going to be talking about influence, and we'll begin like we do every week. So are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Going after what Tim pointed out last week is that we're really very quote-oriented type people. So I'm going to start out tonight with a quote from Napoleon Hill. And it's, think twice before you speak, because your words and influence will plant the seed of either success or failure in the mind of another. And I think that that's an important thing for us to understand, that what you say is extraordinarily important. And when you're working through trying to accomplish great things, along the way there's going to be a lot of obstacles. And we need to be aware of those obstacles, that when our frustration kicks in, that instead of focusing on the negative that is happening, that we are highly aware of the words that we are speaking, because those words do have importance in our life. Those words do influence how people will act and how their emotions will, react within them. And it seems to me that we want to ignore those influences around us, and sometimes I think we want to ignore those influences around us because we so grasp onto what it is that I think and what it is that I feel, and we kind of want to be so emboldened by me that we actually ignore those influences. But I think that we're ignoring those influences at our own peril. As a society, we don't want to believe that which we watch and what we hear actually has an effect on our daily lives, and as well as the words of the people who are around us. But tonight we're going to be talking about how the effects of media have influenced our lives. And then we're going to bring it back to how those same kind of influences affect us individually. And we're going to talk not even individually, but about TVs and video games and movies and music. And do these impact our lives? And in reality, they must. They do impact our lives. What we put into our eyes and what we hear, they have an impact to us. And if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. You can do that. But stick it out through the rest of the show and see what you think afterwards. See what you think when we start looking at how social media has made such a huge impact by simply, modifying a little thing here or there. And then we have to think, what are we going to do as society when the power of social media that we've seen has changed the world in the past 5 years? That what are we going to do if we simply sit back and ignore it? We must embrace the power of social media and recognize the influence that it has on our lives. And we must be prepared to act upon that. Now I'm going to end with yet another quote. John Maxwell says, leadership is influence. Let that sink in for a minute. Leadership is influence. That being true, what is influencing you? Indeed, you do have a choice as to what you are influenced by, and perhaps more importantly, we need to recognize the power of our own influence. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and invite Tim up to stage while we get through a quick sponsor break. Oh, you're bringing up the nicer chair? you sat last week?
I said on this side.
Okay.
I'm having my drink up here.
All right. Okay. We actually cycling through?
We did.
We did.
We're back.
Okay, and we are back. So,
Oh man.
what?
That's actually okay.
What's
just
up,
noticing? Well, you stole my thunder. One of the quotes. You know, if we're gonna talk about these things, we have to have. No, it's down below.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's that piece that's missing is kind of, which one
Yeah.
was it? Leadership is influence?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's
That was
actually
the
the
one
book
I
I'm
ended up
reading.
on. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm John Maxwell too. One of my books, and so
You're John Maxwell too?
Oh, wow.
I'm
Wow,
reading
I
a
didn't
John,
know that.
on
All
a
right.
John Maxwell book. Yeah. So
All right, so influence. Where are we on influence?
influence. Well, you know, we always go back to the meaning of the word, and one of the things influence is defined as the capacity to have an effect on the character development or behavior of something or someone or something, or the effect itself. So I started thinking about, well, what does that mean?
Say it again. So wait, let me.
So,
I'm going to
go ahead.
Influence is defined as the capacity to have an effect on the character development. And I love that character development. Maybe later on we'll come back to that. Or the behavior of someone or something, or the effect of it itself. That's exactly what influence is. I'm glad that you defined it.
Yeah, I got to come up with something good every once in a while. So
I like that.
yeah, so I started thinking about, well, you know, the obviously one of our hot topics tonight, and one of the, I think, influences of this show was the Facebook experiment, and you know, I wasn't impressed with it. And one of the things that I started looking into is how are people influenced, and how could that have possibly been used to influence people? So I started doing a little bit more research, and I found that some really interesting articles about social influence. And social influence occurs when one's emotions, opinions, or behaviors are affected by others. So in a way, it really fits into the mold of what we're doing and how we're trying to accomplish it.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I really started doing it a little bit more, and then there's all sorts of and there's a lot of really interesting information about it. And what I learned was that conformity is a type of social influence involving a change in behavior, belief, or thinking to align with those or of others, or to align with normative standards.
That's interesting.
What's even more interesting this is the most common and pervasive form of social influence is conformity, which makes complete sense when you think about like the Facebook experiment. And I've been listening and trying to understand a lot more about what the experiment was, and what the scientists found out was that if a lot of people are posting negative, it wasn't necessarily leading people down a negative path. It was also leading people to post more positive things to try to counterbalance it. So it was really kind of...
Now, the one I read, actually, they did 2 experiments.
Yeah, there's been a whole bunch of experiments that they've done. And that's one of the things that... the way they're writing this off is it's a marketing experiment.
Oh, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, no, I don't
That's
disagree.
not what it is. And so we'll talk a little bit later about like some other things that went on behind this that seem to be awful quiet in the major media, right?
Yes.
Which I think is really funny, because Facebook now has become a major media outlet, and people don't recognize that.
Right. Well, they were talking about how...
wait till you say a couple things I pulled up about Facebook, though. That's interesting.
Okay, so one of the things that I heard was how Amazon would run ads on the left side of the page versus the right side of the page, and then they would find out what the marketing results were based on, if male or female, age bracket, that type of thing. So it was really kind of interesting to see how all of that kind of tied back around to what it was that Facebook was trying to say. This is what we did, and. So when you're looking at it from a marketing standpoint, it really, I could understand, but when you're looking at it from an ethical or moral ground, it's such a different thing. Now, I don't want to go down this path.
No, but it is, what is really interesting about that is and just for the people who aren't aware of this, is we understand targeted landing pages.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And for people, just real quick what that is, and so when you get into this idea of where your placement is, it's been the norm now for about 10 years, or probably maybe a little bit longer, but let's say at least 10 years, to actually test the landing page of a thing and the colors and the wording, and when you sent people to one page, did they buy more often than not? I mean, this is the psychology of sales, undoubtedly, and the psychology of marketing. But yeah, now what we're seeing is the psychology of conformity.
Yes.
That's where it gets really scary.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I started reading a little bit more about social influences, and some of the other things that they were talking about is there are 5 of them, right? Minority influence, self-fulfilling, reactance, obedience, and persuasion. So there's a lot of different types of influences in social influence that kind of come into the overall definition.
Wow, that's interesting. So, like self-fulfilling and reactance and obedience. Those are some cool. Those are some interesting ones.
So,
and then of course you have the quote by John Maxwell.
Yeah. Well, Mike, can you scroll down just a little bit on that for me? Because there is one other quote. I ended up with 2 quotes, and of course I ended with a John Maxwell quote. But you're going to steal my thunder on that. But the one I thought that was really kind of cool is Houston Smith, an American theologian.
I always want to say theology.
Scroll that back down, Mike. What happened to there?
Oh, that it did quite a bit today.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. The most powerful moral influence is example.
The most powerful moral influence is example. Well, I failed on that one a couple times.
So,
all right, well, that's actually
leadership
cool.
is influence.
There we go. That's pretty cool.
Lead by example.
Right, lead by example.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go ahead. And I know we're not going to do as many cuts tonight, but just for a minute, let's go ahead and cut over. And when we come back, I think we're going to have what's next? What next up? What is influence? Oh, wait, we're still in the same thing.
In that one. Yeah, hit.
It says sponsor break. Where's Mike?
Hold on. Oh, I was going.
Oh, that's
Mike's
right.
perspective.
Mike's perspective.
You have the controller.
You know what that is?
Huh.
That's when you're refreshing for the viewers.
It's not. Well, it's scrolling back to the top. Yeah.
Because the viewer viewer refresh. Yeah. That was something I did notice today. But I'm like, what's going on with that? Yeah. And we'll talk a little more about that stuff. So
we back live.
Let us and Tomato know when you're ready to go.
And you're up.
It just rhymed.
You want to go to his?
It's the final
Here
countdown.
today or something.
See, I definitely,
I've got more room on the bottom of the screen. I can push that down a little bit, but
yeah, we definitely have a little bit more room we could push down.
we could put the perspective to the right of the segment.
Perspective to the right of the segment.
What is it?
There we go.
Mike's perspective. That gives us a little bit more space.
There we go.
We could probably size down the. Well, I don't know about sizing down.
We could actually put what is influence on Mike's perspective up next to up in the header bar.
Oh wow, yeah.
Maybe.
But definitely, I would like to actually have that a little bit bigger, anyways, because it'd be easier to read.
Yeah.
All right, and we're back. We're back, and we're talking about the new interface. For those of you who can't see it now, one of the things we probably should have done was actually announced on Facebook we were getting going, because right now we have no viewers who have signed in.
Yeah, I know.
But that's a little bit like I said. Because we've got this really cool new feature now on Udicci.TV that you can just kind of let us know you're watching. We're not tracking anything, right? You can put your name in, and we don't care if you just put in Stanley Jones and you're not really Stanley Jones. Though, I've heard he's a nice guy. Yeah. But actually, if you just put your name in, then you can kind of just comment, and we can interact with you, knowing that there is about a 30-second delay between what we're saying, maybe 45, between what we're saying and what you're seeing. So it's not like we're going to ignore you, but right now there's nobody to ignore.
Yep.
But that's okay. Tess said she may sign in a little while, so we'll see how that goes. Are we streaming live? Do we know that we're streaming live?
Yeah, I checked it.
Okay. We're good there. No, not just that. I was actually on YouTube. I'm wondering if we were streaming live, but okay.
Oh, I don't know.
It was on YouTube. I checked it before.
Okay. Yeah, I'm listening on YouTube.
Oh, okay. All righty. All right. So, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, let me.
Influence.
Influence. Yeah. I'll, like last week, I go to the root word.
Close to the mic.
Oh, I go to the root word. And it means to flow into. I found that pretty interesting.
Oh, that's very
flow into.
Flow into. Yeah.
I mean,
you think about that, like to literally flow into another person, to inspire
Yep.
another person.
And that makes complete sense.
Wow,
I mean,
that's great.
and and some of the stuff that I thought of was political influence. Somebody using their popularity. They're like, I thought of Oprah.
Yeah.
And how, she's a very well-known person, and I'm sure there was some...
Who was that again?
Harpo?
Yeah, Harpo, yeah.
Harpo Productions. No, I'm sure there was some influence of her audience for Obama's campaign.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there was
Absolutely.
some. And
in fact, actually, just now on that, just this week, somebody actually made the comment. So if it wasn't that the president won the election because of Facebook, which was interesting.
Very interesting.
It's like because he actually knew how to take advantage of social media, the emerging media. So I thought that was interesting. So good point.
So just somebody using their popularity to bring out and raise someone else's appeal, raising their using their influence to raise someone else's appeal. And I thought that was very interesting. But on the other side of that coin is if you're associated with somebody who gets into trouble, their influence in society can also have a negative connotation on you, and you're like the whole guilty by association. So it's you have to be careful of the people around you and
it's interesting because you get into that whole conformity piece that that Tim mentioned.
That's what, yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're surrounded by these influences which really aren't good for your life. And honestly, if you sat back and were sincerely honest with yourself, you could sit there and go, yeah, probably, the drugs, the killing, that's not the best thing for my life. If you're, into, I'm sure we see it in Rochester too often in areas, talking with like Tess on the stuff that's going on there. Mm-hmm. That is going on in the poverty areas or urban areas. Certainly we see that same kind of thing in Detroit, where the influence of others, even though negative, we find this huge conformity to the norm of a negative influence that then becomes the justified and accepted actions.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is really kind of something. And we'll talk about that a little bit, about how how those negative influence affect poverty in just a bit.
Yeah, gang violence is huge. I mean, think about the influence of a quote-unquote family of people influencing someone who may not have any interest, that peer pressure, that, there's influence there, that's
absolutely
definitely some things to think about. Let me just scroll down.
Yeah, it is interesting when you start to think about, like, when you're around groups of people who may or may not even be like-minded, but because you want to conform to their normal, you will begin to change your own opinion just so that you can be more accepted into their norm. Yeah, and then that in itself, even if only for a period of your life, could that actually change your entire life? Right. Which is interesting.
And I mean, even in business. I mean, if there's, if you're associated with a business that's somehow did something wrong, insider trading or something, that may hurt you. But anyway, in business, though, as something I was looking at was the small businesses being influenced by the direction and actions of large businesses.
Absolutely.
Like, Google. I'm sure there's some companies that only create their apps in hopes of a Google buying them, or somebody creating a product in hopes of Walmart buying them. So these large companies,
good point.
Are influencing the market. And
that, from a business standpoint, is something that is something we should all understand. That we actually do have the ability to influence the market, not only as a major corporation, but as a collective amount of individuals with our dollars.
Right.
Right? I mean, you kind of, and we'll talk a little bit about Hobby Lobby later on, but not taking a side, but you'll see that people can indeed vote with their dollar. And that individual consumers are not left to the woes of, or the direction or the influence of corporations, because consumers actually are the ones with the power. they've got the dollars
Right.
that the corporation want.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
social entrepreneurship is really an opportunity, and that's what's something that's emerging right now. It's a great point.
Absolutely.
That's a very good point.
And basically the final point I had was the pace. First to market is also influenced by
That's
some
the
of
point.
these large companies. You know, you want to get out there. But typically in business, it's obviously financial driven. You're not just, but it could be, you know, that idea being first out there is going to make the most money, possibly, more than somebody who comes second, you know.
It's interesting you talk about first to market, and then you're talking, we're going to be talking a little bit about Facebook, and you realize that they weren't really first to market, right? I mean, we
Right.
had MySpace, we had GeoCities, we
I was
had,
just gonna say,
you know,
it
we
goes
had a
back
number
even
of
further,
things, you know, that were social websites, if you will, social media sites or platforms.
Yep.
And you wonder, like, what was it about Facebook that really caused that explosion? And I think a couple things in this, and you start to think about what the influence of this means. I one time heard it explained that the reason it became so popular is that they made it exclusive. And that initially you had to have, like, the Harvard email address to sign up.
Right.
Then it had to be the Ivy League's, email addresses to sign up. So it was this exclusive nature. And then once it was exclusive, then everybody wanted it.
Yep.
So what's the influence of simply saying you can be a part of something that are with other like-minded people?
Right.
And now we've got this thing called Facebook.
Right.
Right? It's pretty amazing on that end of things. So, all right. Let's go to sponsor break, and then we'll come back and kind of continue these conversations.
Those are limited time classic food dish.
Yeah, I did.
Do you want to be in?
Right? Are we?
I was just
Good bag.
giving us more space. Oh, you're back.
How you gonna give us more space? It'll only be temporary, right?
Yeah, it'll be temporary, but at least it'll work.
Temporary for this one slide.
No, it'll be temporary for the whole show.
Oh, because it's actually. Oh, good point. Now, all right.
You want me to do it?
All right, no, come on up. No, we're just gonna. We'll just go from here. All right. So yeah, tonight then we're kind of done doing those little transitions. We'll see how those worked out tonight. We don't have to do them all night again. So, going on with this idea of influence, we started talking about like examples of influence, and I really want to get into like social media, and I really, for me this week, I was really the Hobby Lobby thing, right? And I'm not trying to take a position on the Hobby Lobby.
I didn't hear. I was.
Well, okay, so the Supreme Court basically just heard a case by Hobby Lobby who sued because Obamacare required corporations to offer certain drugs and whatnot, and one of the drugs was contraceptive, and 4 of the drugs were actually what I'll call post-pregnancy. In other words, they're more or less like the Plan B, the abortion pills, right? If we're going to use it that way. And Hobby Lobby is owned by a religious family, and basically said, you know what? We're okay with providing contraceptive, but we're not okay with, the abortion side because we believe that it actually terminates life, and we're opposed to that. So it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that, Hobby Lobby has the right to not offer those drugs to their people. That's really what the court case was about. Now, there's a lot of issues that come into this, and not trying to get into everything, but what really this is a lot of people really have an issue that corporations are viewed in the eyes of the law as people. And I do understand that perspective, but I also understand why they're done, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one argument, but that's not what this case was about. But that definitely started like having people talking about, well, these shouldn't be seen as corporate, Then all of a sudden it became, this is a war on women, Hobby Lobby sucks, right? People on Twitter, they should be burned to the ground.
Yeah.
Like,
Why?
who are we? Who are we? Right? We had a Justice Department. We have people who have opposing
It's
ideas.
a private company.
It's
I mean,
right, and they offer contraceptive.
right.
They offer health care to their people. And people are like, but the bosses shouldn't be able to determine what drugs are available to people. Well, how about this? How about they go buy the drugs?
Right.
How about they go buy the drugs that are not there? But and again, I don't want to get into that as much as just to, if you go out there, do a little search on Hobby Lobby, you'll see like how many, the facts of the case
Right.
are so distorted.
Yep.
Like, social media basically has this family, like, you know, trying to take over America and ruin the entire world. And, you know, on the other side, it's ridiculous. And social media basically took what probably back in our day, if we were watching, like, ABC, NBC, or Brokaw there, or one of the real, you know, anchors from back in the day who might have been, today the Supreme Court ruled that the Hobby Lobby does not need to pay for 4 drugs. Right? The next day, people would have been like, hey, did you hear that? They don't have to pay for those 4 drugs. Now, today, it's like, did you hear that Hobby Lobby gets the right to kill all of their employees? There are people on social media calling for others to go into Hobby Lobby stores and begin having sex. Having sex in the aisles of Hobby Lobby.
Pretty sure.
What does this have to do with the fact that, right? I mean, come on. Well, I mean, social media basically blew this so out of proportion. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's like we have to be so careful about social media because it's so easy to believe
Yep.
what it is. Actually, I was telling you, I fell for that one with Eminem, right?
Yeah.
Like after all this, there's this hoax that was started. Very good piece of satire. It was written that like Eminem's
Daughter started dating a fan, and so Eminem had this whole thing. It's like I couldn't imagine, you know, her dating a guy that was brought up on my music. Was more or less what it said. So, you know, it was definitely an interesting article.
Right. It was.
And it was well done.
It was well done, right? And you're like, oh, and I'm like, oh, it's not real.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yep.
With social media, like, oh, did you see this? And at the time, it got shared again for people sharing and whatnot. But that's it. That like we start thinking about the influences there, and then, you know, coming back to that, and what this really came up. And I want to say that the Hobby Lobby thing did a great job, to the degree that it could, of hiding this Facebook psychology test.
Right.
And I don't know how much of that you saw while you were gone, Mike, but the whole Facebook psychology.
The whole, they're
Like
looking at emotions.
700,000
people.
people.
Yep.
And they're trying to say on one of the reports that I saw, well, when you compare it to the fact that they have $1.2 billion or 1.2 billion users, the amount, the test cases is a very small percentage of the overall. Like that makes it any
That makes
better
it better,
to
right?
screw people's heads.
Right. I only really messed with 4 people. I only
You're
killed
talking
4
a
people.
million out of a million
I don't
people.
care about those 4 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So for those who didn't see it, basically in a nutshell, the Facebook, what they did is they actually skewed the posts that would appear on your Facebook wall. And they took a look at the words and whatnot that were in the various posts, and they tried to determine whether they were positive in nature or negative in nature as far as emotions go. And then to these 700 or 750,000 people, they basically showed negative posts and then tried to determine, like, so these negative posts, how do others react to them? And not unsurprisingly, they actually found out that people responded negatively. You know, it's that whole conformity thing. When people saw negative, they responded negative, right? Misery loves company. Then they tried the other direction on this, and they said, all right, well, what if we put positive? And lo and behold, people responded positively. And it's easy enough. It's easy enough to pass this off as a simple test.
Yep.
It really is. But here's what I started thinking about. I find it interesting. Let's just look at it this way. What if somebody was deeply depressed?
That was my whole take on it. Why it bothers me the most is the fact that if you have somebody that's sitting on the edge, it goes back to the whole GM discussion. How many times does somebody have to die or somebody have to be so negatively impacted before the company is held legally responsible for what happens to that person?
And that's it. It started as soon as
Yep.
here we have this whole group of people, largely funded by the Facebook agenda, if you will. Stop cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So cyberbullying. So some kid in a school district goes and puts something negative about somebody, and we call it cyberbullying.
Yes. Yeah.
Some multi-billion-dollar company tries to screw with 700,000 people, and we go,
It's
a test.
marketing.
It's a test.
Yeah.
We got to see how it worked.
Well, the other one that
It's the world's biggest cyberbullying.
Yeah, the other one that I think that is kind of making its way into the public eye because of social media is this whole thing going on around Rochester with dogs locked in cars. And the fact that this woman broke a
I saw
window because a dog was locked in the car. I went down to my parents' house the other day. I stopped to get a 12-pack of beer, and I'm in this, and I've got Maverick in the back seat. Windows are down, it's warm, but I'm only in there for 10 minutes. I walk away from my car, and 2 minutes later, somebody comes up and sees my dog panting. Does that mean they're allowed now to break my window and steal my dog?
Yep.
So
The windows were down, though.
somebody better be.
It's
running
one of those
for my
things.
car if they
When
got
it
my
comes
dog.
right down to it, is that we now need to allow our animals into all the. We need into Wegmans, right? We need to allow our animals into restaurants.
Yeah.
What's that? Right. Or better yet, let's just leave our animals home because we know that none of our animals like to travel with us.
Yeah.
And I get it. I do get it, and we all get it.
Yep.
Right? It's not that we don't get it. But for years and years and years, we've had responsible people who are like, all right, dog, they're good. I get it. I'm not, and you know.
And don't get me wrong, there are people that I would definitely break a window if the windows are all up. I would break the windows. I would be, if the dog is in there and literally about to crumble, then yeah, you want to protect that dog. But at the same time, when it
And in fairness to anybody who might break your windows, you ever seen Mav?
yeah, well, I don't know. You didn't see him last night.
Help! Oh, right.
Yeah.
Then he wouldn't. Then he wouldn't be.
So,
all right,
anyways.
we're going to go to a quick sponsor break, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to continue this conversation about social media and its influence. But I think that is a great point. The whole idea that the animals and yeah. It's good that it can raise awareness, and we should use social media for awareness, but we have to stop condemning people and convicting people in the court of social media justice.
Yes, yeah.
Right? And that's kind of one of the things that we're saying there. So we're going to head to a quick sponsor break, and we'll be right back.
I saw somebody post on Facebook, they're like, oh, well, I don't have air conditioning in my home, so should I leave my dog at home? What's your smell like?
There she is.
Hi.
Oh, good. How are you?
I ate all of the quesadilla.
Oh, where would you get that? Where'd you get that? Oh, you brought it. Oh,
Are we back?
cool.
All right, we're back. All right. We need longer sponsor break.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. We were just having a quick powwow with food. Anyways, to get back into the conversation about social media, I wanted to talk a little bit about it's the legitimate result of that. I mean, with Facebook, who knows? What do we really know? What is going to happen? Maybe nothing happened. Maybe it was harmless. But we can't deny the power of the influence of social media. That just over the past couple of years here, how many times have we seen social media used to actually incite revolutions?
Yep.
Where entire countries were overflown, right? I flew over. I mean, whatever it is, but overthrown. How many times have we seen that? So it's really impossible to say that there's not a real power.
Right. Oh, there's absolutely.
You were just saying
power.
something about that.
Which part?
I don't know. You made something about how the militaries were using them, but I know.
Yeah, and see, there was an article that talked about how the military was actually behind this whole Facebook experiment. Now, they completely denied it, and it was very quick to be denied.
Wait. Actually, the connection was that it was a Cornell University professor who I guess was working on this, and it was DoD funding for that professor.
Okay, so that's how the link is. Okay.
Something like that,
All
right? So, was it the military? No, of course it wasn't the military. And here's what we know. Absolutely, undoubtedly, unequivocally, all those unwords that you can think of, militaries have been using propaganda forever, right? It's in our military, it's called psychological operations. We get it. It's part of the military. It's what happens. They do everything they can do to sway the opinion of a culture.
Yep.
And not America. Of course,
not
never would American,
from
ever
person.
would an American use these tactics on another American.
Right.
Never. Never. We know that never do our politicians ever believe that they're above the law. We stand here convinced of that.
I'm just a little bit away because lightning is about to come in to the bottom floor.
So how about this one was really kind of interesting when I read this one. So this was in 2000. Get this one, Mike. In 2012. Now, mind you, how many Facebook users are there?
1.2 billion.
1.2 billion.
Jeez.
In 2012, Facebook published a paper after running an experiment involving 61 million users of their social media network.
Right.
All right, so not many.
Bigger.
Yeah.
Not many, right?
Small
So
percentage.
let's see. There's 300 million people in America, and there's got to be, 150 million that are at least capable of voting. And that means that, let's see, at least 75 million would probably belong to one party. Maybe 75 million belong to the other party. Oh, look, 61 million users of the social network. Oh, in the research. Well, on that day, Facebook sent out a message encouraging people to vote. And they said it led to 340,000 people voting in the 2010 U.S. congressional elections.
You mean 2012? In
20
2012?
No, they published the paper in 2012.
Oh, gotcha.
It was
Oh,
done
okay.
in 2010.
Oh, wow, that's
Oh.
interesting.
So 61 million people, 340 got out to vote. I'm pretty certain that Facebook is bipartisan. Not. Right? I mean, it's not lost on us where the CEO's allegiances lie.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I'm simply saying it's not lost on us.
Right.
Right? It's not lost on us who, all you have to do is look at some of the things that Facebook does, some of the things that they speak of publicly, and we can kind of understand who their agenda is. So here's my question. Who is that message targeted toward?
Yeah, exactly.
Toward everybody.
Yeah.
Toward
Right,
everybody.
it's universal.
The get out
Get
the
out
vote
and
was
vote.
universal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Get out and
universal
vote.
toward all the
But-
people who tended to agree with them.
Yeah.
So let's see. With
Out of
all
61 million people that were the part of this test group, 340,000 people went out and voted.
went out and voted. So so think about this,
little
which
bit
is
of
not a
weight
bad
factor.
response.
No, it's a good response,
You know,
but-
it's 0.5%, not bad, right? But here's the funny thing: we know absolutely unequivocally. Look on your Facebook. Look at the ads that pop up. They know about you.
Oh, yes.
They understand what you're looking for, right? I mean, if you're a camper, you got a Swiss Army knife ad that pops up there, right? And you got a tent
you're
ad
video
that pops
guys,
up.
you get
Right.
video,
You get video
all the
all
time.
kinds of
video
video
stuff all the time on my Facebook stuff, right? Yeah, look at your Facebook page. They know what it is that is there. They understand your content, and they target advertising to you.
Yep.
Do you really think they didn't target the get out and vote message? Honestly and sincerely, I don't care what spectrum you fall on, whether you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, whatever you want to call yourself. Do you honestly believe that in that test, they just simply targeted everybody randomly? Bullcrap. Bullcrap. So,
Yeah.
social media. Now, I don't remember the results of
ethical,
2010. No ethics, no morals, right? So here's the thing. Now, what's the answer to this? Let's make sure we have the government regulate this, except for then the government would be in cahoots with the party that... Oh, sorry. Because obviously we can't actually make up our own minds. So we need to have the government regulate this, right?
Something coming.
Right.
So this is where I'm at. I'm like...
I think YouTube's about to...
Right? Exactly. Here, guys, get them off. Get them off. So this is the thing, right? When you think about this, though, 340,000 went out and voted. That swayed an election somewhere.
Oh, yes.
That absolutely swayed an election somewhere.
Yep.
So anyways, the cultural influence, that's what we really are talking about here, is cultural influences. Can social media sway public opinion? And I think it's important that we're open to the fact that whether we want to agree with a position or not, the truth may be otherwise than what we hear.
Well, it's something that's beyond our reach at this point to really understand or affect.
That I don't agree. It's not beyond our reach as a collective whole. It's beyond our capability to change Facebook, to change the current media. Right?
Yes.
It is within our hands to actually do something, because America was built on the people who said, let's do something, let's create freedom. So why don't we create a social network with its own constitution? How about if we create a social network with its laws that are determined by the users? Open, transparent, and you can control your own content. That sounds pretty good to me.
Access to your own content.
So, instead of being influenced by what others want, you take control of what you want. Anyways, before I go off on that tangent too far, here's my question for you. Knowing the impact, and if you want to get ready, cue one up. Knowing the impact that Facebook, could have, and what we just talked about there, and recognizing that they actually could have easily influenced an election by their one that they did, seeing that revolutions have happened, entire countries have been overthrown. Can we use social media to overcome poverty in the world? With that, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Over here. Howdy, guys.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Chuck,
Sir?
Jose.
Jose?
Pleasure to meet you. Jose. Pleasure to meet you. My friend Jose. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Have fun as always. What else is there? Oh, look at this one. All right. I'm finding random pictures now. But I'm looking for the picture.
All right.
I'm here.
I need to find it.
There's men walking around down the stairs with suits and guns and dark glasses.
Alrighty. So, I'm not exactly sure where we stand on everything. We're kind of working on this. We're good. So, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, you guys are up.
Oh, we're on. All right. So, coming back here, knowing that, like we said, just knowing that literally entire countries have been turned over through social media. Can we use social media to actually end poverty in the world? And I say that because earlier today we were talking when Tess was here and Jonathan was here, and one of the things that you'll hear us talk about quite a bit is that poverty is not simply a financial condition. It's actually it's a culture, right? And to really overcome poverty, we need to get people to start thinking differently, and they need to kind of start thinking for themselves. And when Tess was here earlier, we started talking about experiences in life. And without going into it, because it was somewhat probably personal information that she was sharing, but her grandson had some really good news today. But that good news was, for him, was accepted into a good school and everything else. But largely, he had to go into, not had to, but chose to go into that school because he needed to get out of the influences that were all around him in his community. Basically, we were talking about gangs, drugs, death,
common stuff.
violence,
Yep.
the stuff that we're all dealing with. And her family said, you know what, we need to get him out of that. And as his father had unfortunately died many years ago, as Tess said, because he needed to learn how to be a man.
Sure.
In other words, he needed to learn how to think for himself. He didn't need the influences of the street that were going to cause him to continue the
Downward spiral.
that culture of violence that it is that we're seeing. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about is really our beliefs, right? It's our individual experiences in life are what create our beliefs, and we take our actions based on those beliefs, which is what gives us the results that we have in life. That's going to be a common thing you're going to hear with Udicci, is that your experience in life is what teaches you, is what creates in you your own beliefs, and you make decisions and choices on those beliefs, and those choices create your results. Now, not all those things are necessarily bad, right? Not all those things that you learned are bad, but not all of them are accurate.
Right.
And then to the conformity thing, you tend to start pulling yourself in and believing what's around you, even though it may not be good. But so I wanted to share a couple things when we talk about poverty being more than simply a financial condition. Jonathan Schwan from Rahama Home was actually sharing something today. We were talking about the orphanages down in Kenya. And they've got 2 orphanages down there. They're building a bridge campaign. And he shared with me, he says, we tend to have more young men in the orphanages than we do young women. I said, well, why is that? And we were talking about the sexual slavery.
Right.
This is because down there, when the families can't take care of their kids, it's okay in their culture to let the kids go to an orphanage. But it's not okay for them to let the girls go, because the girls they can sell.
Wow.
And in their culture, the girls are viewed as a means of creating income to pay for the family. So you think about that. In their culture, they've been taught that in order to feed the family, it's okay to sell the young girls for sex. Now, and there's nobody here in America that's going to sit there and go, "Wow, that's right."
Yeah.
Right? But we will.
Well, there are some people, but not anywhere in our group.
But we would have people in America who might be living in urban Detroit who think it's okay to go kill somebody for $100 so that they can pay their rent.
Right.
Because that's how they were brought up.
Yep.
Right? Most people would never think that's right. And if you were...
I was just going to say, or sell drugs.
Or sell drugs, right?
To make their ends meet.
So that's called your culture, right? The experience that you were brought up with. So poverty actually is a culture, and it causes people to believe and act other than what many of us would think is reasonable and justified. Right. So I start to think, if entire countries, if entire worlds can be swayed by social media, can we change the world's mind with social media? I start thinking about that. I'm like, what is the power that we have in our hands right now? I mean, we have in our hands the power to sway the mood of 700,000 people in about a 3-day trial or however long it was.
Right. We had to talk about the fact that the internet as a whole is the great equalizer.
I think it is the great equalizer.
So, yeah, I mean...
We talk about that 340,000 people went out and voted, in all likelihood, carried an election.
Sure.
Why couldn't we use social media to begin to change the culture of poverty, not only at home, but around the world? Now, I understand that reaching people around the world may be difficult because they may not have access to technology, but imagine if in America we could begin using social media to change that culture of poverty and start teaching people they can overcome. And all we need to do is stop believing everything we're told.
Right.
Start challenging what it is your beliefs are in some instances and go, what is right? What makes the most sense? Look to those who are maybe where you want to be. But honestly, did they get there by doing things that you don't want to do? Let's kind of look through that. And that's where we start talking about self-influence.
Right. Yep.
We all have a choice. We all have a choice, and we have power to exercise that choice. And to blindly follow based on our own experience or our own opinions is really to kind of hinder life's greater decisions. And earlier we were talking about that, how each life can be a wonderful experience. Each individual life can be a wonderful experience. And if you think your life is a wonderful experience, so wonderful that you have all the right answers, here's the thing. There's billions of other people who also are having an experience that you're missing. Think about that. Whatever you think is great about your life, there's billions of other people who might have the same thing. And what are you missing? What are you missing out by not sharing in their experience? And honestly, what's it going to hurt you to share in their experience?
I saw a quote today from Julio serving, and it was talking about how when you're walking by somebody and you look at somebody, you have to understand that they've had experiences or they have knowledge that you may not necessarily have. So by letting every opportunity walk by you without understanding or trying to understand what it is that they've learned or what it is that they may know, you're missing out on so many opportunities on a daily basis.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I remember one time years ago, I credit Jesse Sprinkle with this. He was talking, I don't even remember exactly how he said it, and knowing Jesse, he doesn't even know he said it. He just kind of randomly was saying something. But his whole thing was about music and how there's so many genres of music. And he's like, it's not about liking or disliking the music, it's about finding the reason to like it.
Right. Finding the appreciation for it.
Finding the right. So, when you buy into your own beliefs, you're so narrow.
Yeah, narrow-minded.
You're missing life, and
you can only self-influence yourself as far as you know.
And I think as soon as you start saying that, this is the only thing that is right, or that's the only thing. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking people to give up on their faith. I'm not asking people to say turn from it. Right. I'm just simply saying, look for understanding.
Yep.
If you believe something with your heart of hearts to be true, and somebody believes the opposite of you, don't assume that they're an idiot and convict them in the court of social media. Actually, have a good, intelligent, educated conversation. Actually, look to understand, what do you understand that I don't? Because here's how I understand it. And don't be so offended that the person doesn't just roll over and go, oh yeah, pat my stomach here because you must be right. Because they have their own beliefs.
Right.
Literally, find what it is that they're talking about. Listen to them. Explore ideas with one another. Encourage one another. Grow together.
Set your own pride aside.
Set your own pride aside. Yeah. Influence. We have the ability to influence future generations. We have within ourselves the ability to choose our own influences. And I think we need to choose wisely.
Yes.
We need to choose incredibly wisely. So, I don't know, guys. What do you think?
I think as long as you're influencing, as long as you're not doing it for prideful reasons, that's what it comes down to. I was listening to an audiobook by C.S. Lewis, and it was Mere Christianity. And what a book. I don't know if you've ever listened.
Nope.
Quite interesting.
Is
if you
it?
have, oh yeah. And pride among anything else is the greatest sin of all, say. And if you're doing anything out of pride, influencing somebody to make yourself look better, even if, if you find yourself right, if it's, pride is like, makes anything else look good, because it's so bad.
Shia and I were just talking about something earlier today. We were talking about how, selfishness is pride. There was something else that we were talking about that, right off the cuff, wouldn't be viewed as pride.
One of the ones that caught me was worry. How worry is prideful.
Worry is prideful.
Yeah, that was one of the ones recently that I discovered is, and when I started really understanding what pride was and the depths into our hearts that it goes, and it's not just worry, there's anger, there's anxiety, all of the emotions, a lot of the negative emotions that we go through are considered prideful.
And think about that. Like, all of those things that we're holding on to, all of those things that, like, just anger us. I mean, anger is a good one.
Yeah,
anger is a real, like, I guess, honestly, every time you find yourself angry, it's selfish.
Yep.
Right? Because somebody else doesn't think like me, because somebody else doesn't feel like me, because somebody else doesn't get me.
Right.
Well, why are you so important?
Right.
There's billions of other people, and are you more important than them? And don't get me wrong, I believe each individual is priceless, but imagine, and this is what we were talking about earlier, if we just started living for one another,
Right.
not for ourselves. You know, and then there's so many people who go like, well, if I do that, then what about me? Well, that would mean everybody else is living for you.
Right.
Right.
I mean, imagine everybody living for you. What that
They
would be
always
like.
say a utopia would be, is everybody living for?
And
in
I
a way,
get,
I mean-
I really do get that is the utopia view, and that, you know, and that it's
Something like
really
that.
never really going to happen. But I saw another quote recently. It said, like, never underestimate what the power of a few committed people can do.
Yeah.
For nothing has changed the world other
Like
than
Margaret
this.
Mead.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And it is so true that we don't need tens of millions of people to make a difference.
No, we just need 700,000.
Apparently, we just need 700,000 to test it and see how it all goes.
Exactly. Then we'll go from there. Take our group.
Alrighty.
So,
What are you guys doing tonight?
It's actually a live web series. We're live streaming to the internet right now.
Oh, okay, I don't want to be on.
No, you sure? You can come join us.
I need to come and steer the band.
Oh, we'll probably come up in a little bit, but they should. Don't you think they should come on? Wait, I would think they should come down and be on YouTube. See, it's a different world we live in.
Yeah.
Do they want to create a video?
Love to do it.
Oh, you want to come say hi to the?
Just come say hi.
No.
But it's really cute down here. I just wanted to show her.
Absolutely. Yeah, every Thursday night we do a live web series. We do 2 live web series. Every other Thursday we begin at 4. We do 3 live web series.
So what do you do? Like, you just bring people down here and what happens? Whatever happens.
Whatever
We're
happens,
about to see
happens.
the real talent
Yeah,
come
the
on.
real talent comes on right now, and they're more of the comic show. Ours is more about we're into economic development. Our whole thing is to try to our business is about trying to overcome poverty, throughout the world. So that's we're actually using social media to try to reach as many people as we can. And tonight we actually talked through the power of influence. We looked at what social media has done and what it could do. So that's like our show. Then comes the wise
these
ass.
guys.
What do you guys? The comic?
They're the comic relief.
Stick around for 10 minutes and watch
Yeah,
the
they're the
beginning of the
comic
show.
relief.
They're about to come on.
All right.
We could transition.
And this is kind of the fun thing. This is literally, when we say social media, we mean it. We're actually
We're
sitting here
actually
talking to
live.
you, and we're live to YouTube right now.
Don't post
Right.
it. Don't be shy.
So,
We'll talk to you. It's for a great cause.
well, thank you. All right, are you guys ready to take over? All right, we're going to go to sponsor break for just a little bit, and then we'll bring up
Real
the real
Talk.
talent with Real Talk 360, guys. All right, and we are off.
Actually.
I'm gonna try.
You will succeed.
We'll see how this goes.
It's going to be fun.
intuitive, some shit. Persistent. And you brought napkins?
You never know, bro. We're alive.
That's that love for free right there.
There's no charge on the love.
No charge.
No charge for the love.
All right, we'll let you go live. Are we? Our battery? I notice that every time we go on, they have all these technical difficulties. Every time.
Oh, not now.
Is that broccoli? Stay away from me. No, that gives gas. Shia, you're in trouble tonight. Put him in the basement with the dog. If you don't have a dog, buy one. Alright, he sleeps with the dog tonight. I wish we could do our show.
I wonder if,
I actually got somebody on now too.
they were on.
Because they seen that we're not on it, so they probably left.
Oh.
These, we got the Three Stooges over here.
It's the first time. You know, I'm wondering if it's, hold on a minute, let me try one other thing.
Cash somewhere?
I'm wondering if,
All that technology. They should be able to hit one button. I'm Blake Chuck all the time. It's Chuck's fault.
On that flash.
How bad?
We created.
Did you stop it and start it?
I didn't stop this one. Recording. I have to do a cues though.
OMG!
I'm gonna look like the Alki compared to you, bro.
Well, I just refilled. You want yours? They always treat the Puerto Ricans like
because
shit.
there's an overlap.
It is. It's your. Because you.
It's always because of you.
Come on. Let's do this.
Julio's like, keep the beer down.
Do what?
Get the hell out of this out.
Yeah, okay, sure. You can see us or something?
No, me lo dijo antes de
What'd he say?
He was like, yo, man, make sure you keep the beer down. Like, don't keep tapping the beer.
Oh, this guy just that just came on. You.
Yeah. That's my brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Joshua Gonzalez.
Seriously? You know what?
Let's see. So they can. I mean, they can keep going.
Yeah, they can get going.
Someone told me it's working.
It's working. You're on it.
We're on right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where's my agenda?
Hold on 1 second, I'll get it up for you.
Well, they
Ad-lib it for a minute.
Ad-lib.
Just tell us what you're doing and go into Facebook hashtag.
Do whatever that whole word is.
Whatever they say. Well, welcome back to another segment of Real Talk 360 with your host right here, Ricardo Nieves Tag. And I got a sub standing, should I say the man, the master barber right here, Jose Gonzalez. Unfortunately, I have a week off from Julio. He's down there in Florida. Hope you drink a lot of Mai Tais for us.
Did you do his hair?
You see, he does a lot of distraction. You can't be following him like that. He's like that little bouncing ball. Anyways, we're going to do some recapping from last week. We're going to talk about some new subjects this week. And our special guest host will be my co-host for this week. So I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of his life story, what went on. A little episode that happened. I want to say a little episode, but something that pretty much changed his life, that would have changed anybody's life. But before we go any further, we're going to do some hashtagging and checking out Facebook because we got the Three Stooges over here that can't figure out the damn system. So we're going to just ad-lib this a little bit. So what we got going on Facebook right now?
I don't know. Let's start off with a hashtag to Julio Jones and happy birthday. So we're going to hashtag happy birthday Julio Jones on that one.
Who's Julio Jones?
Did I go?
That's Jordan.
Jordan.
Ooh! Hashtag, he done messed up your name. He done messed up your name. He gave you Jones. Keep it up with the Joneses.
We got to keep up with him, though.
Ain't nobody trying to keep up with him. He speeds too fast. All right, what we got going on? Check out your updates and see what's going on. Anything that stands out right there, that's what we do around here. Julio's better at it than I am. I got like 3,000 friends, and they're all boring now. What? Oh, I got... Yo, you know what? I never mess with this thing. What do I have to hit?
Oh, jeez. See? You need...
That goes forward. That goes back.
Ooh, thanks for the lesson. Okay, Julio calls out those hashtag. Okay, so what you say? Man, Julio's nothing without me in this show. Yeah, I said it.
I got to shout out my brother Joshua Goya Beans Gonzalez for tuning in live with us.
You got like 15 brothers. Tell them all to tune in right now.
All of them, right?
All of them.
The whole Gonzalez family.
All
tune
of them.
in.
And your father, your uncle, everybody.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Shout out to Kiana. She just got a job over at where did she get a job at? Or Journeys. Journeys. My niece Kiana just got a job at Journeys. So congratulations to you, girl. It's like Throwback Thursday, so all I get is old pictures. Matter of fact, my sister posted a picture, old one of me today. I'm like, I'm not accepting that. It's like,
speaking of sister, my sister's tuned in live in Tampa, Florida. So
where do you
shouts
see
out to
that?
her.
How do you see that? If they would move all that,
Hold on a second.
Hopefully.
Jeez.
Yeah, what do you mean? What are you doing?
and then they're always blaming the Puerto Ricans for not getting things right.
What is it? Screen, you just move it. There's no screensaver. What are you doing?
What?
When it goes dark, you come fix it.
I will. Hey, watch your brother sign out.
Yeah, you probably kicked them out.
Yeah, get back on. Tell them to go back on Udicci.TV. Get back on.
Damn.
All right. Oh,
Homeboy's daughters.
I restarted the.
Don't get me involved.
Don't get me involved.
I'm not in it.
Yeah.
My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it.
Nah, I never was.
What the hell is that?
Bro,
What the hell is that?
I'm not sure, and I don't think I want to know.
Oh!
No bueno.
You gotta be kidding me. I can't share. Oh!
Oh, never mind. Now I know what that is. We're just going to X that out.
Oh my gosh, never mind. I'm not gonna show no one. Who the hell posted this? They should be taken off of Facebook forever. Oh, that's horrible.
Before
That's
I forget.
horrible. Hashtag some people do not belong on Facebook. That got
one
my
doesn't.
that was awful.
Eesh. Wait a minute. How did you feel about the other week when you were getting put in that chokehold?
No, we're not talking about that.
We're not?
We're not talking about that.
Oh.
We're not
That
talking
one's
about
out of
that at
the
all.
question.
No, we're not. We'll talk. We'll talk about that later. I don't know. Hashtag here for another week. Hashtag I hope Julio has fun down there. Hashtag I hope he goes in the water and get bit by jellyfish. Hashtag I hope you come back with a serious sunburn where you don't want to come back on the show. And actually, he's gone next week. Next week he's out too. He's gone too.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyways, let's move on for the hashtags. I'm never good with the hashtags. My name is Tag. All right, what we got here? No sponsor break. The hell with that. Interview. Oh, we're going to move on to this already. Okay. So, as you can see, I got a new host tonight for this week only. And next week, actually, I have another host to sub in and fill in for our main host. Actually, my little peon, my little sidekick, my little jester in the court, Julio, who's going to Florida right now, vacation with his children. So, our guests this week, you know how we usually have a guest going on and, you know, telling what they do with their life. I mean, we got the boxing, we got the MMA, we got people that do things in the community or whatever. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of people. The show's been amazing and both inspiring at the same time. This week, not only is my co-host here with me to support me on this show, but he's also here to tell you a little something that happened with his life. Want to start off with the date, how long ago that was, and then take us through the, how should I say, through the moments there. And tell us also how that changed your life.
The date was May 19, 2004. Going already past 10 years now. Me, my wife, and my brother-in-law were all the victim of a robbery. And
Outside.
yeah,
Not in the house, just hanging out outside.
Hanging out outside, minding.
I heard this story. Let me tell you. When you told me, by the way, I felt like I was there with you. I just couldn't take it no more. It was just too much. It was deep. But continue.
Well, I was waiting for a friend of mine's mother to drop off a movie to us. So it was a beautiful day in May. Nice spring day. We're talking probably 80-degree weather. Buffing, waxing the car, minding my own business. Finished the car, and I'm just sitting on the hood of the car, conversating. And we happen to glance down the street, and lo and behold, there's a guy pointing a rifle at us. So I looked at my brother like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
And he tells us, get behind the car. We end up behind the car, on the side of a building, on the side of our house. It was real hard for anyone.
It was dark in there. Yeah, it was dark in there.
Yeah, it's about 9 o'clock at night. So, minding our own business, dude comes around with a rifle out of all things. Not a pistol, not something small. We're talking like deer hunter.
Wow.
And, yeah, we ended up, they actually had 2 more guys behind the house, jumped the backyard fence.
Now, I know the story, so I want to make sure you don't miss any important parts. During that time, I believe you told me your wife was sitting in the car.
Yep.
She was sitting in the car, and you guys were sitting on the trunk of the car.
The car's facing the street.
Okay, you were sitting on the hood.
driveway.
You were sitting on the hood, hanging out, like whatever.
Yep. My brother-in-law's standing in front of me. We're just conversating back and forth. My wife is in the car, talking on the phone with a friend of hers, and that's when the guy came around. He pointed the gun at us, told us both to get behind the car. So if I'm sitting in front of the car, and I go on one side, my brother-in-law goes down the other side, she's in the car. We get to the back of the car, and now he points the gun at her.
Like when he points the gun at her, how?
He points the gun at her in the car.
Right in her face?
Yep. And then takes the gun out and is forcing her
to get out the car.
No, to take off of her jewelry that she had on.
Okay.
So, mind you, I'm thinking looking at my brother-in-law like, man, we got a chance at taking this guy.
Yeah.
But like I said, he had 2 more guys that jumped the backyard fence, and both of those guys came locked and loaded.
So this was all pretty much it was all predetermined. They were. I mean, do you think you guys are singled out, or it was just a random thing?
What I came to gather was that a car drove by slowly and noticed us there, and then basically went around the block
and jumped the fence.
Yep, parked the car. Now the driver gets out and goes around to the front and engages with us to begin with.
Okay.
While the other 2 were in the back
waiting for
the moment. So then once the first guy engages us, these 2 jump the backyard fence and come with us from the backside. So there's no way of retaliation.
Now, just when you thought you had a chance to get him,
exactly.
When you seen the other 2,
exactly,
your odds just went down.
Odds went down. At that point, you got to give up.
So continue.
So from there, those 2 guys force us face down on the ground behind the car. So now if you kind of picture the scenario, you're behind a car on the side of a building on the side of my house. There's no way for public view to
dark.
see you. Exactly. So they have us face down on the ground, facing that way, while the first guy proceeds to take all her stuff off, literally just ripping it off of her. He grabs the phone from her hand and throws it on the floor. So someone's actually listening to the conversation going on. So they took it upon themselves to hang up that phone call
and call
the
911.
police.
Okay.
The person who was doing the phone calling for us actually was questioned as to why. Where do they know this information? How do they possibly know what's
Instead
going
of just
on?
saying, you know what?
Instead of saying, send them down.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Stop wasting the time that you got going on
Okay.
now and just send them down. So, after that, that's when that guy basically leaves her and takes off back the way that he came. So these 2 guys got us hostage. She manages to get out the car and get into the house. These 2 guys have us on the ground, face down. One of them ended up starting to kick my brother-in-law in the face with boots. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm next. And Probably like 30 seconds after that happens, he stops. And I'm thinking I'm the one that's getting kicked next. That didn't happen. What ended up happening was the guy reached down and grabbed my gold chain and just ripped it off my neck. So I'm thinking, hey, you got it. It's gone. And I'm thinking, no kicking? Is something going to happen? Next thing I know, all I hear is the chamber getting cocked. When I glance up, now, like I tell you, this thing is a rifle. We're talking pretty long.
Yeah.
So from a standing position and someone's laying down, this thing is reaching my head. So barrel's pointed at my head. I hear the chamber cock, and I look up like, you've got to be kidding me. What did I do to deserve this? And as soon as he cocked that thing back, finger went right on the trigger. Chamber's on the head. I'm not going out that way. So I ended up swinging my arm, which caused the burn stippling on my wrist that fired off into my back instead of my head. So clean shot, I would have been gone. Clean shot.
With a rifle, absolutely.
With a rifle at point blank range.
That'd have been closed casket right there.
Done. It ended up going into my back. The guy that was with him ended up taking his gun off of my brother-in-law. And between the two, they fired 7 shots at me. 7. I was left for dead there. Actually, once they fired the shots, they started to run off. One of them stopped, kind of realized that they never took a shot at my brother-in-law. So one of them turned back around, fired off one single round into my brother's back, and took off running. They hopped the same fence that they came through, and I was leaking completely. I could just feel it like warm liquid going down my body.
Your wife?
My wife at this point was inside the house. She didn't know what was going on.
But she heard the shots.
She heard the shots. The side door where we were actually at was kind of cracked. Luckily, they didn't decide to go in. They took off. My brother-in-law still holding his face from being kicked. Plus, he's got a shot in his back. I'm leaking everywhere. I got up.
You're still conscious?
I'm still conscious. I ended up...
By the way, before you move forward, the 7 shots, can you tell us where you got hit?
Twice in the stomach, twice in my back, and 3 in this leg. The most damage that was done, obviously you don't want to get hit in your stomach. There's so many organs there, so many vital organs. But the ones that did the most damage were the ones that hit me in my leg. And that's because it ruptured the major artery that goes through the leg. You have one in each leg, one in each arm.
Absolutely.
It blew through that artery. I literally got up. My brother-in-law still on his face. We're face down.
Yeah.
We were. But he actually was still face down. I grabbed him and turned him onto his back and pulled him up into a seating position.
Now you're pulling him up.
I'm pulling him up.
And you're the one with 7 shots. Wow.
As soon as I pull him up into a seating position, I can just feel everything gushing out. So I just looked at him and told him, bro, I can't do anymore. I'm done. I got to get inside. We've got to get to safety. So once he's in seating position, I took off running up the driveway back to the front, into the front steps. Got into the porch, banging on the door. She heard my voice, unlocked the door. I went in. She asked me where he was, and I told him he's coming right now. I literally collapsed right there on the floor, fell down on my hands and knees, and ended up coughing up chunks of blood. I had a pool of blood bigger than this table, easily. He makes it in, knocks in, and lays right on the couch. Mind you, if you remember from the beginning, when they came up to her door and started going for the chains and bracelets, they threw the phone into the passenger side. So when he took off to run to go get the car and be ready for the other 2, she ran in, left the phone there.
So now you have no phone to call
Now we
911.
have no phone. So now we're both inside with her, and she's screaming, we got to get help.
Now she's got to take the risk of going out there, not knowing if they're around anymore, to get the phone.
Exactly. So I told her, and I consciously remember telling her not to go outside. She still ran outside, grabbed the phone and ran into the street. So that way she has the phone to call 911.
And she's in an open area if anybody.
And actually an open area, so that way someone would stop by, see what was going on, and help and, you know, speed up the process by more than one call being called in for the same situation. It felt like a long time, but at the same time, it probably was maybe 5-10 minutes before the ambulance arrived. And from there, clothes were cut off immediately, blanket thrown over me. They immediately said, this guy's got to go first.
Yeah.
He's got to go. I was rushed to strong, made it there very fast. I remember being on emergency room. I remember being on the bed, doctor right beside my bed, and was asking me a few questions. And as he's asking me these questions, I'm looking at him like I'm looking at you, this close. But all of a sudden, everything just goes from detail in your shirt to just color. I can only see the color, can't see the detail of anything.
Yeah.
That was a scary moment, as that's when I
You thought you were slipping away.
Oh yeah. I grabbed him by his jacket and pulled him in close. And I told him, I said, everything's getting blurry. And he tells me, let it go. I don't think so.
Hold on right there, guys. I don't want to lose that point. He's saying to you to let it go?
He's telling me let it go. And basically, I lost a lot of blood.
All right. And let me just do this real quick. Susie Muniz, is that a friend? She just texted over here. Susie, if you will, just put back that information that you just had about the survivor, the victims or the survivors benefit stuff, so we can get that back, and we'll share that as it goes. So she was just sharing some stuff that you guys didn't see on there that I think would be important. But
okay.
All right. So to come back to that, you're saying that you're in the hospital.
Yeah, I see it right there.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm gonna pick it up, and he's telling you to let it go.
He's telling me to let it go because I lost. I don't even remember.
You've had to have lost quarts by now.
I think it was like seven pints or
Oh
something
my
like
God.
that. It was an extreme amount where I was basically just.
You needed transfusions.
Exactly. So as he's telling me this, it literally was like an old school TV. When you shut off a 70s, 80s TV, and as soon as you shut it off, it goes into that long dot.
Yeah.
So that's how the room went. The room literally just started fading away until it got into a very small dot.
And
once it went into that dot, gone. I slipped into a coma for 2 months. Almost 2 months.
I was just going to ask you that. How long were you out?
It was over a month. I don't know the exact amount of days. I never really recorded that down as to the time, how long I was gone.
I remember seeing a picture you showed me.
It was definitely over a month. And family thought I was gone. They told them, pray for the best. But
Yeah. Because you had just lost too much blood.
Yeah, they said even if he comes back, he's going to come back a vegetable. Probably not going to walk again, talk, write, all of those things, which actually happened. I actually had to learn how to walk, write, talk, everything. All over again. Tubes. I looked like Nutty Professor. My whole body swelled up like double, triple in size. So eventually.
How long did it take to recuperate to get pretty much almost back to normal?
Wow. Took about a year or so at least to learn how to walk, and that was through wheelchair, walker, crutches. But I'm gonna say about 4 years.
Wow.
4 years to literally be on my own without anyone's help.
Now, not to talk too much about the suspects, but ultimately they were caught.
Yes.
And they were caught, and they are all three.
Yes.
And they're all doing their time as just due, as they should be doing. And I'm glad to hear that, because not many victims get to actually, many victims go on in their life after something like that, and they never actually feel like they got their just due, because they're laying there like, this happened to me, and no one ever paid for something that happened to me. No time, no nothing. The court system, the justice system failed me. I got a friend, Javier, who I think we're going to plan having on the show one time too. He was literally shot in the head twice. Luckily, the caliber was small. He got shot right here, and he got shot in his mouth. I went to go see him. it was so bad for me because I can't see stuff like that. I had to sit down. The nurse had to give me a cold towel to put on my head because I was ready to pass out. I mean, when I seen a picture of you, I just got a backflash for Javier, and I was like, I don't want to see this picture no more. It's just really tough, especially when you know someone and know that they got something that got done to them in that manner that they didn't even deserve.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be different if you went out there and you was looking for the problem, but you were just chilling.
Minding my own business.
Doing the right thing at the wrong time in the wrong place. I go back to my daughter. 2 weeks ago, she went to a quince. And, you know, a sweet 15 for those who don't know. And she said she's going home. I ended up going somewhere and she's there. I'm like, you said you were going home. She, yeah, but papi this, papi that. No, get in the car, I'm taking you home. And it's not that I didn't trust the place that she was at. It's just she needs to understand that even though she's having a good time, not knowing things can happen and something can happen to you.
Anything.
DJ Thomas, years ago, this is back in the early 90s. He was across the street minding his business. There was some problems going on. A gun goes off, bullet flies across the street, hits him in the head, gone. Couldn't even tell nobody what happened. All he knows is that he was gone. Gone. And it's sad that this stuff happens every day, not just here, but in the world, in America, in every community like this. And, you know, I not for nothing, man, with the way this economy is, where people are just struggling to get jobs and just struggling to, you know, make ends meet, sometimes it pushes a person to want to go out and do drastic things. And I pray that they just don't go that far and try to shoot someone and take their life over some chains or some, you know, a little bit of jewelry. They walked away with nothing, really. Nothing. Now they got to spend the rest of their life in there thinking about what they did wrong. Luckily, thank God nothing happened to you guys in the sense where you guys didn't die. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What did you take away from that whole situation, the whole thing?
Well, a lot of things. You got to be thankful for everything you have.
Amen.
Because you never know, like you said, when your day's up, you could be minding your own business, doing something as simple as just being around with friends, family. Same thing we do every day, especially like tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are going to be family members together. Sometimes you can't even distinct the
It could be tomorrow's last day tomorrow. You know
fireworks and shotguns.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't tell.
So close.
You can't tell.
They're so close. So that was definitely a big one. I learned to appreciate every day and every person that came into my life. Kind of figured that God's got a purpose for me. You know what I mean? Because to be spared through something so horrific.
Yeah, man, that's...
Easily.
I can't even say anything for that.
Easily. The doctors told him to pray for the worst. You know what I mean? He might not make it. Let alone, if he does, he's going to be a vegetable.
Yeah.
So coming back out of that...
I mean, not for nothing. I mean, thankfully, you're alive, but you do have a handicap now.
Yeah,
your leg.
Definitely.
You have a limp in your leg now, your foot. You have issues with your foot now. Javier has, you know what, not for nothing. Be grateful that's all you got. Javier has... he has a serious handicap. He has speech problems. He walks with a limp in both with an arm situation, and he has constant headaches because he was shot in the head twice. So I mean, his whole life has changed. And mind you, this guy was a karate champion. His room is full of belts and trophies bigger than me. That's all he was doing, karate. Him and his brother. His brother got a dojo still, and they were taught by Master Flash. So I mean, one day you're into a sport, the next day you're just trying to like get by a day without having a headache now, you know. Exactly. And you know what he was doing? He's going around doing speeches and stuff like that, and just about nonviolence and stuff. So it helped him out. And I asked him, I said, "What helped you get through all this?" He goes, "The first thing that I had to do was accept it. Accept that this is the way I'm going to be for the rest of my life, and move on from there, just try to learn how to make do from that." So. It is hard, man. I don't pray that on my worst enemy, man. I mean, it's the worst thing to have a gun to your head and have something going on. I mean, I'm sure you thought, I'm not getting out of this. I'm gone right here, right now.
Let me just jump in real quick here. I don't know if you can see that over on the screen, but Susie says, God bless you. You're still here to share your message. And
Thank
so
you,
rest
Susie.
in peace.
Thank
Remember,
you, Susie.
those never forgotten. She did want to share also that there's a Stop the Violence benefit July 12th from 1 a.m. till 10 p.m. It looks like at 688 Lexington Avenue It's hosted by Unity Links SC. Not quite sure.
Repeat
what
that again in case some people didn't get
It's
that.
Stop the Violence benefit, July 12th, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. It looks like 688 Lexington Avenue. It's hosted by Unity Links.
July 12th?
July 12th.
Okay.
It's
Is that
hosted-
before Thursday? I don't know what day that is. What day is that?
July
for?
12th.
Well,
is
today's
Saturday.
today's the 3rd, so
All right.
yeah,
The 12th is a Saturday.
it's Saturday.
Susie, if you're watching right now, I'm sorry, Chuck. Susie, find out who's in charge of that event. Get a hold of us here through either anybody you know over here. Have them reach one of us, whoever's in charge of that event. I'd like to have them on the show next week as our guest, so they can talk about that event and promote it much more, so we can get more people involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that actually, as we're going through this, let me just finish out some of the other information she sent. She said the tickets are $10. That includes food. It goes to Unity Links. The proceeds go to Rock the Peace Fest, which is being held on July 19th at Jones Park. So absolutely, I agree with you. If we can get whoever's running that benefit out here, that would be pretty fantastic. And I got to tell you, as I'm sitting here listening to your story, it's one of those things that I think that maybe we do need to hear more of.
Yeah.
And I think that if we could, not every Thursday night, but literally we do a different night where we literally have people come on and share these stories. Because so far in this, I've not heard why it happened to you, and you probably don't know.
No, well, actually, they were in a gang. And that gang, they're basically what they called was a shopping spree. Now, this shopping spree is basically go out and get whatever you can. If you can prove to them that you've done something, that goes to you.
Because apparently, from what you told me, if I remember correctly, one of the reasons they got caught is because they went back and bragged about it.
Not only did they brag about it, the main one is walking around with the same rifle down the street, literally from where he shot me at. Maybe, I don't know, I want to say like a few months after. And they actually had him in custody prior to them arresting him for something totally different. I think they had him on a possession charge. So at that point, they knew who he was, but he was already released.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm still in a coma.
Okay.
So I know nothing about what's going on. Luckily, friends of my family knew the situation, knew where it happened at, and he happened to be going right by the same area. So because of that, they just basically put those things together as like, wait a minute, even if this is not the guy, he still shouldn't be doing what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it happened to be a bus driver, which my dad's a bus driver. So my dad's been with them over 20 years.
Yeah.
So they know of me. I've done fire drills and stuff for them as a child. So a lot of the people from the district know who I am and know that that's my dad. So they're basically doing it from my dad.
Okay.
And the bus driver literally followed the guy while reporting it in. So while they reported it in, they called into base. Base told them stay behind them, but at a
distance,
safe
so they don't know.
distance,
Yeah.
So they don't realize that the bus is actually following the guy.
Yeah. And who would think a bus is following me? Yeah.
You wouldn't think a school
Yeah,
bus.
no, not at all.
Until the police arrived. Police arrived, apprehended him.
Wow. You didn't tell me that part. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
that
cool.
was the cool kicker
That's cool.
to it.
So all three are in jail now?
Yep. They got one. And basically, the other two ratted on each other. They
How long?
gave each other up. The getaway driver, got 5, so I believe he's out. And then the other 2 were given 15 or 17 years.
That hardly seems like enough. I mean, that
Thank you. That's one thing that bothered me initially coming out of that.
Robbery,
I'm
attempted
thinking-
murder.
yeah, that's not,
Predetermined murder.
I guess that's the thing. I wouldn't even look at that as robbery. That's to your point.
It's an
It's a
attempted
gang.
murder.
It's attempted murder. That's
That's
all it
attempted
is.
murder.
Right.
Point blank period.
Predetermined.
Point blank period.
Right. Oh yeah.
Predetermined.
Premeditated attempted murder.
Premeditated, because that's first degree.
Right. And how do you
And
get 5
I
years
go
on
in
it?
and rob someone and
I
kill them.
wouldn't
That's
say-
premeditated.
I wouldn't say premeditated only because of the fact that
Okay.
they don't know
All right.
who they're going to be dealing with
Okay.
or who they are going to rob
Nonetheless,
until
it's
that
attempted
point.
murder.
So they say like,
So that's got to be at
let's
least
get this
second
guy.
degree.
And isn't there a law like robbery with a gun is some sort of felon with minimums or?
I had no say so since I was in the coma. By the time I came out, I don't have anything to do with that portion. But basically, they told me the only thing that they could prove solid was robbery with a weapon, something like that. It wasn't an attempted murder, basically, which would have put them under the jail.
Dude, could you recognize them? I mean, was it the trauma such that you wouldn't recognize them now? Or?
Well, they wore bandanas,
Okay.
so you wouldn't tell the other two. But one did, and he had a big birthmark on his face. So that would be the only one that I could be able to distinguish. Other than that, no.
That's, so this happened in 2004, you said. So that guy's already out.
Getaway driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that scare you that he's on the streets?
It does. It does. I'd be lying if I saying it didn't.
No, how could it not?
What can you do? You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do.
The correction system works.
Exactly. I was told by someone else that knows one of the guys that has the longer amount of time that one of them got a tattoo while being in there, so that you're not allowed to get those while in there, so that kind of added more time. I don't know how much. But yeah, it's rough.
Something has to change.
What can you do?
Something has to change. That's part of the earlier we were talking about the whole culture. There's issues with that. I want to just get back to that. You said that you came through this and you felt as though God had a purpose for your life. Have you started pursuing that, or have you started like trying to figure out what you believe that purpose is, or where do you stand on that now?
It's kind of rough because you think in your head, what is it? Is it something that is going to come up shortly? Is it something that's going to be 5-10 years from now? We don't know. So for the meantime, I definitely take the time out to show everyone that's in my circle who cares for me that personal love. You know, the younger kids. I'm a barber, so I see a lot of people daily. Nice. So like I said, I see a lot of people daily. A lot of the younger youth that I see, I always give them, positive encouragement, and let them know my story if they ask. But sometimes you gotta have like the big brother. There was that program before. I don't know if it's still around. Big Brother, Big Sister.
I think that's Boys and Girls Club, is it? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure anymore.
I know they I don't know if it's still around. I know the Boys and Girls Club. But the only one that I know of is actually on Genesee Street. We need more programs like that. And I'm glad you brought that up because there's something that lacks over here. And let me tell you, why your kids are out there hustling and doing the wrong thing is because they have nothing to occupy their time.
Exactly.
There's no programs out there. And if there is programs, but if they're not promoted enough, they don't know about it, and they're not encouraged to take part of them anymore. There is a lot. The rec centers, as we had Ray Mayolas over here about a month ago in our program, and he talked about the rec centers, how they are much better than what they used to be. And there's a lot of things going on right now. The rec centers have recording studios in them. They have treadmills. They have state-of-the-art stuff now. And these kids, we need to start encouraging them. Me personally, I think there's just too much break from school. They got so many breaks. They got freaking spring break. They got Easter break. They got Christmas break. They got Thanksgiving break. Then they got 2 months off for school. That's way too much. No wonder why behind in China and Japan are way ahead. They're school all year round. All year round. Forget that break. It's time to get these kids smart and ready. I think we're failing our kids left and right, and it starts from the top all the way down to the bottom, and then also from the bottom with the parents all the way to the top. But there is programs, and I think there's more programs. And I've had this dream, and I've told Chuck about it. I've had this dream since I was 17 years old to start up an urban cultural center. It's full of urban arts. It's a place where these kids, it's not like School of the Arts, which takes you to another level and gets you prepared professionally for another world. It's something where it takes your interest that you picked up as a kid in the hood, in an urban society, like DJing, producing, graffiti drawing, rapping, singing, whatever it is, and take them and give them a safe haven where you can take those interests that they have and help them build it to a next level. I've had that dream for years, and I'm not going to stop until I get that place. I think that's something. See, you got to give them what they want. Today, right now, your mom and dad to your kids right now is not you. It's MTV and VH1 and all these stupid reality shows that are going on. That's mom and dad. You're not mom and dad. You think you're mom and dad, but these kids, if you look at them, they're behaving, acting, and talking and doing the same things that the characters in reality shows are doing. So if that's what they like, take what they like and twist it up into a positive and give it back to them. We need more programs. Need more programs.
Definitely. I second that one big time. There really isn't nothing for them to do.
There's nothing.
I've gone
There's
to
nothing.
different cities, and it amazes me how many different things are available to these kids in
And
different
again, and
cities.
this is not the first time I said this. I said this in plenty of episodes. Rochester has the most programs. I'm going to be bold enough to say in the world. One of my last jobs, my first assignment was to find out all the programs in Rochester, what they offer, who they are, identify them. I came up with almost 900 of them. Almost 900 programs.
Really?
From the professional ones down to the small ones. I'm talking about
Exactly.
the American Heart Association, American Cancer, down to the smallest ones. Yeah. There's like almost 900 of them. And that was about 6-7 years ago. So there's programs out there I don't know what they're doing. I question them. I don't know who's watching them. Someone needs to police them with all this funding going on. But I think the youth, and I'm not taking away from the health-based ones like the cancer one, the heart, the lung societies, none of that. I'm talking about some of the other organizations that I think they need to take their focus off or whatever they're doing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I think they need to start focusing more on this youth because I'm telling you right now, it's a jungle out there. It's bad. It's bad. And every summer, everyone already knows it. Every summer, more people die. And they happen to be these kids.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like I said, being in the barber industry, you come in contact with so many different people. And you see people, besides that, you talk to so many, so you hear different takes on what's going on. As a barber, you have to be up on current events.
Yeah, you got to know how to hold a conversation. And,
exactly.
Occupy and entertain your customer, because sometimes that's why they come back.
Exactly.
They like your company, because if I'm going to sit in a chair for an hour, you better entertain me with some stories, you know?
But it's, as you see those different stories, some of those people are the ones that are family members. Like a friend of mine's that we thought that it was him that got shot on Goodman and Central. Come to find out, he looks identically to his brother. Identically.
Is this recent?
Oh, yes. This was maybe a week or two ago.
I've been hearing about some of these shootings and stuff.
It's
I heard about the
ridiculous.
girl that was shot. It was a girl. I think she died.
Paralyzed. No,
she's paralyzed. Yes, she's paralyzed. And it's just crazy out there, man. And I keep watching these videos. I keep seeing these stupid videos on Facebook about these young kids going up and just hitting people at the knockout game and then jumping on older people. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I catch any one of y'all little ones doing something like that, you won't see me. You won't see me. I'll die before I see that happen. You're gonna see me the wrong way. Hashtag whip that ass. So listen, man, I appreciate you sharing your story with me and our fans out there. Of course, the rest of the crew right here.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Chuck.
We're going to take that frown and turn it upside down. We're going to move on to some other stories real quick.
Let's go.
And right now, the hell with a sponsor break. And what's up with
Yeah, he actually. There you go. There you go.
Okay, Facebook experiment. I read about that. Facebook changed the content mix in the news feeds of almost 690,000 users to gauge their emotional response to positive or negative posts. This is something that was happening without us even knowing?
Basically. And the funny thing is that I've noticed a lot of people that...
Do you know about this?
Friends of... Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
talk about it. Because I heard about it, I don't know much.
I've had friends of mine who have literally told me that they didn't put what was on Facebook. Someone else had to have done it. And it didn't make any sense at first. But then when this came out, it's kind of like, what if?
Now, I do get people that I can tell when there's a spam. I actually, I got 3,000 friends. I don't know. There's a small portion of them that I don't know. And even if I don't know them, I'll hit them up, inbox and said, someone spammed you, change your password. And I hope that someone does that to me. Because listen, man, if you're going to have a Facebook page or any kind of media social account, pay attention to it. Change your passcode every once in a while. If you're on it every day, you will see what's going on with your account. Yep. And you will need someone to tell you to change it. You will know what's going on. Be responsible with it because I'm telling you, you're representing yourself. Again, remember that song I told you about, Agusate, which is my tattoo, which means watch yourself because other people are watching you. You're out there in the open. Your life is out there. The way you behave is the way people see you. The way you behave is how you're projected out there. So be responsible out there with that.
But think about that. 690,000
That's crazy.
people. That's a lot of people.
Well, they got like 1 billion subscribers.
Even if you think about
what you
Facebook
guys
worldwide.
missed earlier, because we talked about this, is that actually there was a paper that came out in 2012 that in 2010, Facebook did a promotion for a Get Out the Vote campaign during the congressional elections, but it went to 61 million of their users, which tells you it didn't go to all of their users because there's billions of them. So here it is, we have a corporation now that is influencing our society according to their own agenda. A bit scary.
Wow.
Very.
Legends of Hip Hop concert. Tell me you're going. Oh, you won't be here.
I won't be
you
here.
Won't be here.
But
By the
trust
way,
me.
our friend here is moving to Florida in about 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nah, you're
Moving
moving?
to Florida.
Gone. Sunshine State. Here I
He's
come.
like deuces.
585. I
Nice.
love
Let him
you,
miss him. I'm gonna kick his ass before
Love
he
you
leaves, so
all.
he never forgets me.
but I gotta go.
But damn, that would have been great if he was still here. But down in Florida, it doesn't matter what part of Florida. There's always something going on. There's always something great going on. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you can't find something to do in Florida, you don't belong there.
Exactly.
You don't belong there.
Get out.
But the Legends of Hip Hop concert.
That has to be
There's gotta be,
hands
like-
down the most amazing concert that I
We've
am
had it-
so
yeah.
sad that I'm gonna miss.
Yeah.
It is.
And me and Julio already got our tickets.
You think about the adult crowd that's gonna be there.
The
So you're not
mature
gonna
adult, yeah.
exactly.
Well, Julio told me about when he went to the Canandaigua, the Finger Lakes, whatever it is. The
CMAC.
The CMAC. Okay, so Canandaigua Performing Art, whatever it is.
Yep.
When they had that old school one, I think a year ago.
Yes.
And I heard that was off the chain. And
That
it
one was amazing.
And he told me the demographic was crazy, from old to young. When he said it's old, he said he's seen people with white hair out there, and the cultural span that was there, all walks of life. It was crazy.
Yeah, think about it. That time, they influenced so much of what's going on today.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks Lil Wayne is the best thing out. What? Let's stop.
I remember when I was,
Are we
I
gonna
was working
forget
in the
about that
school
whole
district.
crowd?
I had to argue with little kids in the school talking about Lil Wayne is the best. I'm like, what? Lil Wayne is the best rapper that ever lived. Are you serious? I have more intelligent things to say than any one of these, down south rappers. They
No,
don't say
everybody
anything.
knows Marky Mark's the best.
Mark, did you say Marky Mark? See what I gotta deal with?
No funky.
There's only two downsiders that I like, and it's T.I. and Luda. They're the only ones because they spit. They spit.
do.
I like them.
They do.
Everybody else, I don't like it. Down to those songs from my Laffy Taffy to my White Tee to whatever the hell they're saying today. I don't know. I don't like it. That's not hip hop.
That's
That's
bubblegum
not
rap.
hip. That's garbage. Personally, I think that the industry right now is catering to just this kind of music to dumb our people down more. Because there's no actual content in those lyrics.
There isn't.
There's no content.
There isn't.
And
It's
if
all about a
anything,
catchy hook.
a catchy hook and the stuff they say, come on, man, it can't be more sexual content, drug related, or just stupidness in it. And you got your kids. You got your kids singing this stuff. And now you got radio station playing songs like, I'll go back about 2-3 years when it was talking about Bedrock. My Bedrock, the Bedrock song. Come on, that's talking about, now you got little girls that are singing this song. They don't even know what they're talking about. I mean,
Starts with Bedrock and you're thinking Flintstone. It's not Flintstone.
no, it's not. I mean, the stuff that they're talking about, I whip my kid's ass. Hashtag whip that ass. Whip that ass. Father leaves Tyler in a hot car update. Both mom and dad Googled how long it would take for an animal to die in a hot car.
Literally?
Well, I want to see how long it takes your ass to die in a hot cell. They're the ones that happened this week. Was it this week or last week?
That one
Last
I
week.
didn't hear about.
Last week, they left the kid in the car. Is that the one that did a whole shift at work? Yeah. He did a whole shift at work. Went out, had lunch. I think he came back, checked on the kid or something.
Yeah, there's a lot more details coming out about that one though. Like
Come on.
He was sexting while he was at work and all sorts of other stuff going on.
But he did-
So there's some
Yeah, this was all over the news.
But he did say that they looked up the information about how long a dog could last so that they knew a safe amount of time to leave the child in the car before they could check on it.
Yeah, okay.
Leave your child in the car.
What do you think should happen to them?
Oh my goodness. Was that in Tucson? That's almost as bad as the guy who shot me under the jail.
That makes you wish that if I was in jail when you came in, I want first licks on you. I want first licks.
Think about how many people are in jail, point blank
Hashtag
period.
whip that ass.
When you think about all the amount of people that are in jail, how many of them are missing their kids and
Yeah. And these people are experimenting
these
with the little
people-
kid. And
They're Googling.
You're talking.
Oh, no.
I just seen a video
Are we
today.
serious?
I think it was down in South America. They were doing they were showing how global warming is really bad right now, where they actually did they were cooking for people, where they were cooking differently. They took out the pans and they put them on the street, and they cooked the food off the street in the pans. But it was so hot that they were frying eggs, bacon, meat, everything.
And that's supposed to be proof of global warming.
Or just how hot, period. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that's how hot it is. Imagine in a closed car.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
Okay?
You lost me a little bit.
If you go cook
you lost. All right.
If you go cook on the street. Now, have you ever opened the door up for your car when it's really hot? You can literally see the steam coming out. Like, I can see some stuff and I'm like, wow. I mean, you touch your buckle of your car, you're freaking out. And I'm
If you look at the actual shadow on the ground, you can see the waves.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's hot. I don't know about you, but I used to cook eggs on the seats there every time.
See what I'm talking about? Welcome to Real Talk.
Breakfast.
Yeah. Taekwon Rivera, 19, who was 14 when he was shot.
When he shot
Officer DePonzio in the head, has been moved to Elmira Correctional Facility. I have not heard about this story.
I didn't hear about that, but I actually personally met Officer DePonzio during a gala that they were having in, I want to say that was Riverside Convention Center.
This is after the fact.
This is after the fact.
Okay. And this is, you already been through your situation.
Oh, I was about 4 or 5 years through my situation.
Okay.
And I actually met him and the chief of police at the same time. He was actually escorting DePonzio in.
Okay.
So I was working. I was actually doing a delivery for a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Let's not go there.
Hook me up. Hey, what happened to my screen, man? Hook it up, brother.
So, yeah, like I said, I was actually, you know what? It was in the Hyatt Hotel.
Okay. Did you go up and say anything?
Oh, I had to because I knew what had happened to DePonzio. This is after he's recovered and out of the hospital and walking, but still with cast on.
Okay.
You know, had the brace behind his neck. So I believe that was Chief Moore.
What did you do?
I immediately walked up to Chief Moore, explained to him who I was and what had happened to me, and basically how I went through a similar situation as DePonzio, and wanted to shake his hand. I had to meet the guy. You know what I mean? Because it's a shot to the head. It's a fatal blow.
Didn't even see it coming.
Not at all.
Doing his job.
And for someone like that to survive and to be in front of you, it's better than a celebrity, in my case, the way I feel. But I had to stop. I spoke with them for briefly, maybe 5-10 minutes.
They should have given you a platform up there, at least 5 minutes.
No, but that was actually them coming in, me going out. So
I just stood out of that, like, you know what? I want to.
That was enough time for me.
You know, I wasn't with you. I'm like, listen, man. I want 5 minutes. My man right here. He done went through something like you. He needs to speak too. All right. I'd have been loud. I'd been like your agent or something.
I mean,
and if they pay you, I need my 15%.
We'll talk about that later.
I don't get a cut.
But it was, you know, I was honored. Spoke to them for a few minutes.
You know, he's got his job. He's working for them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's job?
That was, I don't know what he did, but I remember seeing it in the news that he reported to duty. Remember, I don't know if you guys seen it. He's back on the force.
I think I
don't know what exactly he's doing. I'm sure
I would assume so by now.
Oh no, this is like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, this is
approximately. That he got back in the force? Oh yeah, they had him up. Yeah.
And I saw him roughly, I'd say about a year after that happened.
Okay.
So he was definitely in better spirits at the time.
Okay.
I was just honored that they stopped and took the time, you know, the 5-10 minutes that they did give me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, even though they gave me that and I've gone through it already, I can see where now I can do the same to someone else.
No doubt.
I can spend the 5-10 minutes to just take their mind of whatever troubles they're thinking about and say, listen, I've gone through something even worse than that.
Yeah.
And if I can make it, you can make it. So,
Amen.
I mean, that's pretty much my goal now. I just try to
So you're here
give
today.
a positive vibe to
What are you doing tomorrow for 4th of July?
4th of July. It's up in the air.
As long as you get to eat and get drunk, that's all that matters, right? Being around family.
Family, friends,
food,
good
family,
time.
food, and drinks.
Family, food, friends.
Family, food, friends, and fucked up.
No.
I am. I know I am. I won't be. I'll make sure that I get a designated driver too. I can't wait till my daughter gets her license. She wants to drive, and I'm like, girl, you know, prove to me you can. I just found out because I said I'm not gonna pay for a road test or the license, the permit, if you're not gonna pass. I take her to go get her ID, and I asked. I said, how much is it? You got to pay every time. She goes, no, you don't pay unless you pass. I'm like, oh, that's a freaking relief. So she can take this in 100 times, and I only pay when she passes. So I'm cool with that. So when she starts driving, I feel comfortable with her in the car. I'm like, listen, I need you to drop me off at this time. I need you to pick me up at this time, and then we're good. Got to have those designated drivers.
It does say here too that we have to wish Julio Jones a birthday tomorrow.
That's what I was gonna say. What I was gonna do, that was for Julio Jones. Julio Jones. Got to keep it with the Joneses. But yeah, I think tonight when it hits midnight in about 3 hours, my plan is to wish my best friend right there, one of my best friends. I only have I only got him like in one hand, but he's like a brother to me. If I call you my best friend, you're definitely a brother. So. Miss you. Hope you're having a blast down there. And the first thing I'm gonna do is hit you up on Facebook and wish you happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Julio.
He'll be 39. Next year he'll be 40 before me. And I gotta do a big 40.
Hey, you just put all your information out there.
Well, you're 42.
Whoa. Back that up. Way back.
No, what,
Whoa.
you're 33, 34?
Whoa, that's
30.
irrelevant at this point.
Oh, whoa, no.
Whoa.
You come in the show with a pink shirt, you're gonna say your age.
Actually, it's salmon.
No, I have salmon. That's pink. I'll bring my salmon. You look at it wearing my salmon shirt. I would have put it right next to yours. Mine's salmon. That's pink.
Are you saying salmon? What is salmon?
Salmon is not that. That's pink. That's pink.
I think
You
it's
can say
salmon.
salmon, but that's pink.
Judge me. Go ahead.
You watch boxing?
Yes.
What did you think about the last Mayweather fight with Maidana? Maidana?
Maidana wasn't his last fight.
Yes, it was.
That was his very last fight?
That was his very last one. We had it here in blue upstairs. That was back in May, Cinco de Mayo area.
Yeah.
So, do you know he's going to have another rematch? He's going to have a rematch with him?
I kind of forgot that fight because a good friend of mine, fellow barber from barbershop, actually went to jail that night.
Oh, I remember you texting me something about that. You actually were supposed to join us.
Yeah, he was actually supposed to join me. So that way that wouldn't have happened. Yeah, I didn't really get to catch that fight.
Well, all I can say is that Mayweather, stop ducking. Stop ducking, man. You got 3 or 4 fights left in your contract. If you're going to do a rematch with a man that really brought it to you like Cotto.
Team Cotto.
And give everybody what they want. You talking, listen, man, there's only one great fighter right now. And it's not Muhammad Ali. I'm sorry. It's Rocky Marciano. He retired undefeated and he fought everyone that was put in his face. Everyone, hands down. Do your history. Do your history. And my book, this is my book, and I'm sorry, I got the history to say it. Mayweather, I respect you. But if you're going to do a rematch with a man that had your face all bloody, that you won on points with, okay? And if you want to give the fans what they really want, if you want to go in the history books without an asterisk, fight Pac-Man. I'm not saying he's going to beat you, but give the people what they want. This is boxing. This isn't wrestling. You don't get to pick your damn opponents. You have to face every opponent that's put in front of you. It's called the number 1 contender. And I'm sorry, you guys are each other number 1's contender. So get it over with. Because if not, I have no respect for you. I respect your skills, but I don't respect your game. Over with that. World Cup, anything about the soccer?
I noticed a lot of people have jumped on the FIFA wagon. There's a lot more people
This
watching
happens
soccer.
every 4 years, and then after the first year, it dies down.
True, but if you
But
think
soccer's
about
huge,
it,
man.
I mean, I go by and I drive by places, and now everything says watching FIFA here. You know, like that wasn't the case 4 years ago. There wasn't that many places that you can go to and guarantee to go watch a FIFA event.
I do agree with you on this. The MLS is getting bigger, and now you have what's his face from Tim Howard? No. The guy just retired, the freaking pretty boy guy with the tattoos. Beckham. He wants to bring a league over to Miami. So I mean, it's growing. Is it big here in the States as it is everywhere else in the world? No. Can it be? Potentially. Potentially. It's how you market a brand. It really is. It's how you market a sport and a brand. It's possible. It will take some time, though.
I'll tell you one thing that it has done to the barber world is everyone wants the haircut that's on TV.
Oh.
So one thing that we noticed a lot, the NBA haircuts was big.
Okay.
You see so many different things going on during the finals, during the playoffs.
Really? So like, I never knew that. So people come in.
Oh,
these guys really
literally.
do that? They're like,
Give me-
do they bring a picture in or they
Yes.
just say someone's name?
They'll tell me someone's name and say, "Give me that haircut."
Really?
Give me.
Like
that.
I did that once in my life and I regret it. I'm gonna say this on.
Was that Kojak?
I was. Hold on. Let me first tell you. let me first tell you. I'm gonna do this so you guys can all get a giggle out of it. Okay.
Charles Barkley?
I was like 14, 15 years old. I was in love with my first true love. Her name was Katina. We go way, way back. She's still a good dear friend of mine. And I was in love with her without even seeing her over that little phone type of thing. And she was in love with the, what they call, New Kids on the Block. So she goes, it'd be nice if you got a haircut that looks just like Jordan.
Oh.
I'm like, and I loved her so much. She dropped off a picture. That was the first time I got to see her, like a year or two. She dropped off the picture. My ass goes to the salon. I go, my girlfriend wants me to look like this.
I thought you were
She goes,
going.
I'll try, honey, but I don't know. I can't guarantee anything.
I thought you were
Hey,
going with like, go back to old school there, that kid and play
Dude,
high
New Kids on
top
the Block,
fade.
really?
High top fade with you. I think it'd be just great.
No,
for you
I
right
mean,
now.
come on, New Kids on the Block. That's embarrassing as it is. I can't believe I just said that.
High top. I had to do one earlier today.
Did you really?
The movie Juice.
Oh, yeah,
Tupac?
with Bishop?
Tupac.
Wow.
Had to do one of those earlier today. So I mean, it's going back to FIFA. It's influential now. Now there's people that are there that have like a weird haircut, and because of that weird haircut, now people are like, wait a minute, who is that guy? Now that guy becomes famous off of a weird haircut. Now everybody's coming to me.
I think
Let
they
me
do it
get
on
that
purpose.
haircut.
Now, I'll be honest with you. If I had the hair, I mean, I have hair, but I don't have that thick, long, the thick strap. When I grow my hair is like Chinese. It's real thin. I have thin hair. Like, it can grow long, but it'll be thin. I can't do nothing with it. It's dead hair. Now, if I had
Why
thick hair-
am I just picturing this really thin hair all the way down to the middle of your back
Why
right
the
now?
hell
I'm
you
just
talking
like,
about my show? Leave my show alone. Go over there. If I had the thick hair, not like you're thick, but like that Ronaldo guy, that little part, I did it on my son. He looked so cute. He didn't like it. He wanted to go back to the Caesar. I'm like, that Caesar's back in 1995, 99, 2005. What are you doing? He didn't like it. He wanted to go back to the Caesar. So,
What can you do?
you follow basketball?
Do I?
Okay, so what do you think about Jason Kidd over here leaving the Nets, going to the Bucks? I think that's some money hungry shit right there.
The Bucks?
I mean, the Bucks, really. The Bucks are what the Clippers used to be. The laughing stock of the NBA. Why would you go to a team like that? I don't care how much control you have. Why would you go there? To leave the Nets that has the salary, that has the money to do a lot of stuff, and people want to go to the
The
Nets.
potential, the stadium.
That was no. Well, from what is being told, he went to the owners of the Nets and he said he wanted to be general manager or something, and they shot him down. So I guess he's good friends with the owner of the Bucks, so he decided to jump ship over there.
He's playing?
No, he's coaching. He's coaching. Where the hell you been, Detroit? So
Detroit.
Not so strong.
yeah, I see that. Pistons, yesteryear. I don't
Bad
get that.
boys?
And not, unlike the Lion, no, not them either.
I don't get that move, man. And I'm gonna go with one of the. I listen to like the sports talk radio at work all the time, and I love this one commentator, the one sports guy. He's like, I bet you my life that in 50 years the Bucks still won't win a championship, and the Bucks is that kind of team that they probably won't. I mean, why would you leave?
It's a small market team.
They
don't
that's
have-
what we're talking about.
they don't have
It's a
the space.
small market team, and nobody wants to go to that team. When you get drafted, you're like, all you think is like, I don't want to go to a team like the Bucks. I don't want to go to the Bucks. But you're like, I wouldn't mind going to the Nets. Oh, I'll play for the Nets.
Now-
Jay-Z
now,
made the Nets
yeah,
cool.
Barclays.
Yeah, they made that. The Nets are
Beautiful
cool.
stadium.
Nice.
Now you're in Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not in New Jersey anymore.
Exactly. Why would you do that? I mean, and the whole thing with LeBron and Melo and all these things going on.
Where do you
Basketball.
think he's going?
I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. I don't follow basketball like I used to. Will it be a shocker for him to show? I don't know. Houston's they've been rolling out the red carpet for him. So have the Bulls. Actually, right now he's supposed to meet with the Lakers. From what I hear, Kobe just cut his vacation short to come in and help woo Melo in.
Mello?
So I don't
just
know.
saw pictures of him with watching D Rose play in Chicago. Like they were just practicing, and Melo's in
I don't even follow it like
first
that.
row watching
I don't follow it
D
like
Rose
that.
play. It's sad.
I want to move on right here because I can care less about basketball like that. The season's over. Rochester Jazz Festival breaks record of 196,000 people. Damn.
That was a lot.
What the hell they put all those people in downtown?
Right? Right?
You down there?
It was
Was that bad?
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of people. I went last year. I didn't get a chance to go.
I have
be
not
busy
been to
this year.
Jazz Fest. I take it back. I've gone to a couple little strolls through, but I didn't go purposely. My cousin Johnny worked at the Miller Building right there, and I went to go visit him one day, and they had the little street blocked off between the Eastman Theater and the Miller Building. They had a little thing going on, and I mean, I'm not into the Jazz Festival. I think it's great for the city. I think it's awesome that we have it here, and people travel from all over to come see it. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I just can't put my full thought and support behind it because I'm just not. I like some jazz. I like Latin jazz, and there's some jazz that I like. Am I the kind of person that will come out of my pocket and pay that kind of money? I don't know what they charge, but to go see some jazz events, probably not. I'd probably save my money for a Latin event or something.
It's impressive that we beat the record.
No,
I mean, that's 196,000 people.
The last record was 195,940.
Wow, so we upped it by 60 whole people.
That's great.
And that's Chuck going there 60 times.
No, but I definitely went.
Weezer was there. I mean, when you get acts that are outside the jazz, and you're including Weezer and Buddy Guy and that type of genre, I think they're bringing in more of a mix.
But the thing is that you don't really know who's there and how good they are.
Yeah.
Like these are hidden gems.
Oh,
These
yes.
people are coming to our city.
Yes.
And
Wait, you go
don't-
regularly?
No, I normally didn't go, but my dad has
I figured
a
your dad,
salsa band.
Yeah, okay.
And they also do Latin jazz. So last year we were invited to go, and we went. So they had the big tent that's on Main and Scio by
Okay,
YMCA.
yeah.
So they had the big tent. It was prime hour. It was probably like 7 to 9 or something like that. It was a really good show. So I went to that one, and besides my dad and him having the band, I also have a cousin who plays saxophone, and he's all over the place. He actually goes on I forget the name of the cruise, but it's a cruise ship, and he basically spends his whole time on the cruise ship playing his instrument with the band. And they're in like
cool,
Thailand. They're everywhere.
That's cool.
This is
That's a good gig.
really somewhat
That's a
far.
good gig.
Great gig. So I've learned to appreciate more of the jazz.
I got jazz records at home. I like jazz. I love jazz.
No,
I
I
just,
do. I definitely
I guess I don't love it as a aficionado. You know, the people that just I am jazz.
Yeah.
I am not jazz.
Well,
I am more Latin and salsa and Latin jazz.
It's
I like
interesting,
stuff like
though. Jimmy Highsmith was on Amanda's show last week, and we were talking about jazz. Like, everybody knows him for jazz. But he's saying that jazz is just not jazz anymore. It is so
It's
broad.
evolved. It has evolved.
Exactly. That it's
It's
so
not the
difficult
monk
to say.
days and
It's a broader spectrum.
it's not Coltrane. We don't have these people that go off and recreate and reinvent jazz. Now we have more of a popular jazz. Yeah, it's more.
Oh, it's even more than that. I mean, it was really an interesting conversation with Jimmy. It was cool.
Yeah.
More of a cover band type.
You know what? I did wish I got to see at the Jazz Festival with two people: Bernie Williams and freaking
You figured
James Brown.
you would go see Bernie
James
Williams.
Brown, when he came a few years ago before he died, I would have loved to see James Brown. James Brown came here, and I wanted to see that, and I just laughed. Whatever.
I mean, well, would you even really put? I mean, I would have never put James Brown in jazz, right?
But it was packed. It was crazy.
Why would you put Weezer in jazz?
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, Weezer was there?
I wouldn't do that either.
They were
there?
Weezer was there. Buddy Guy is
Tickets.
blues and jazz.
Ticket sales, buddy. That's what.
Well, then again,
I mean, and then
jazz-
what? Well, LL Cool J opened up for somebody this week, right?
What the hell are you talking about? You know what? Don't serve him any more damn beer.
left field.
He's like this. He's just some big
No, well, we're
shit.
just
He's like,
it's gone. It's gone. We're good there. We're just trying to go everywhere with this. Just bringing it back to the old school hip
listen,
hop.
what you do, you need to block him out the way I do. They're like, he's not even there. You know who I call them? That's Charlie Harper and Alan Harper. That's what they are right there.
Harper Brothers.
Yeah. That's the one in the middle. That's a half man right there.
Look at the camera when you're saying that.
That would, yeah, really. It's yeah.
I'm gonna behave on camera. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, thank you for all who are viewing. And Cut Factory Barber Studio and Lounge. That's where you can find me at.
Where's the location? What's the address?
1943 East Main, on the corner of East Main and Illinois.
Very nice location.
Very nice location. We're open Monday through Saturday and Sundays by appointments. So stop on down.
I want to thank you for coming out, brother.
Before you guys close, though, I feel as though you missed a really important segment. Something about tapping out. I mean, you promised that you were going to talk about this, and
Wasn't there a medical person who was supposed to be coming and checking on him to make sure he was okay?
Yeah,
I can see that on there. What the hell are you talking about?
seems to me that there was some
Thank you, Susie. We'll be in contact. Hit me up.
Thank you,
But
Susie.
no, ain't nobody tapping. Whatever.
Make sure
If you
you-
want to see that, tune into the last episode last week. I'm not talking about me tapping out. Damn me, everything went black out on me. Shit.
Tapping out 2 seconds.
But everyone, thank you for tuning in. God bless. Good night. Keep checking out our episodes and keep tuning into Udicci.TV and Real Talk 360.
Don't forget LuckyCaesar.com.
Lucky Caesar.
Lucky Caesar.
Get drunk for us.
Julio.
We'll get drunk for you.
Love you, man.
One. Be easy.
Have
Thanks,
fun.
everyone.
Happy birthday.
One.
Ready? Tonight's show brought to you by Lexington Federal Credit Union, as it is each and every Thursday night. Remember, if you need a loan, think of Lexington Federal Credit Union. Take one and make sure you're helping Rahama Home build that orphanage. And that is it for Thursday Night Social. Thank you, and make sure you come down and join us at Blue Bar and Grill next week. We're always out here. Have a good night.
If you guys put up the tag, it's like
Exactly. You know, I've been putting up with it for years, so it becomes easier as it goes on.